Evan Carter had never imagined that working on a remote planet would be this quiet. The plain stretched for miles around him, covered with soft blue grass that shimmered under the twin suns. His research team called it Arden 5, a planet recently discovered on the outer edges of human exploration. Few humans had stepped foot here, and even fewer had spent more than a week. Evan was one of the lucky few, assigned to monitor energy readings that appeared in random spots across the plains. He walked slowly, his boots making soft crunching sounds in the blue grass. His scanner beeped occasionally, signaling small pulses of energy. Most of the readings were faint and harmless. But today, something felt different. A stronger signal appeared on his scanner. Right in the middle of the meadow, the air smelled different too, like electricity mixed with the faint scent of flowers. Evan frowned. He did not know why, but a small part of him felt nervous. As he stepped closer to the center of the meadow, he noticed movement. A small figure ran through the grass. It was a child, or at least, it looked like one, but unlike any human child he had ever seen. Her skin had a soft silver glow, and her eyes were bigger than normal, shining like polished stones. Her hair floated slightly, as if it had a life of its own, moving with the wind without touching her shoulders. Evan froze, unsure what to do. The child's eyes met his, and in that moment, Evan felt a strange connection. The child ran straight toward him, arms wide, with no fear in her gaze. Evan instinctively knelt down. Opening his arms, she leaped into him, hugging him tightly. Evan's heart raced. Who are you?" he asked softly, afraid that his voice might scare her. The child did not speak. She simply held on to him as if she had known him forever. Evan noticed strange symbols glowing faintly on her skin, pulsing with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. He touched her cheek gently. It was warm, and there was a strange feeling in the air, like the meadow itself was alive. Suddenly, a tall figure appeared behind her. The figure was an adult, a woman, and she moved with grace that seemed almost unnatural. Her skin had the same soft silver glow, and her eyes were calm but strong. Evan could sense that she was powerful. "Do not be afraid," she said in a voice that sounded like wind passing through trees. "She will not harm you. She will not harm you." Evan swallowed hard. I don't understand. Who are you?" "My name is Leora," the woman said. She looked at the child. "And this is my daughter, Nira." Evan's mind raced. Alien species had been discovered before, but direct contact like this was rare. She ran to me," he said. "Why?" Leora smiled softly, but it was filled with seriousness. "She has chosen you." Evan blinked. "Chosen me? What do you mean?" "She has performed the sacred instinct," Leora explained. "It is rare among the Sarai. A child senses a bond with a guardian and chooses them. This choice cannot be forced, and it cannot be ignored. My daughter has chosen you as her father." Evan's mouth went dry. "Father? I don't understand." "I'm not." "You are the one she trusts," Leora interrupted gently. "The bond is important. It is not about human titles. It is about her spirit recognizing yours. You have been chosen." Evan looked down at Nira. She was still hugging him, her tiny arms around his neck. Her big eyes were fixed on his face, and for some reason, he felt a deep responsibility. He did not know this child, yet a wave of protectiveness surged through him. I don't know what to say," he admitted. "I'm just a technician. I don't know how to be a parent, not to a human, and certainly not to an alien child." Leora stepped closer. "It is not a human or alien bond. It is a living bond. If you accept, you will guide her, protect her, and teach her. In return, she will give you courage and understanding beyond what humans normally feel. She saw this in you, even before she ran." Evan's mind spun. This was unbelievable. He had read about human-alien interactions, about children sensing danger or choosing guardians, but he had never thought it could happen to him. He glanced at the scanner in his hand, still beeping faintly. None of it seemed to matter anymore. The small child had chosen him, and he could feel her heart beating against his chest. What happens if I refuse? Evan asked quietly. You cannot refuse what has already been chosen, Leora said simply. The bond will find its path. It may take longer, and it may bring danger. But the choice cannot be undone. Evan felt a chill run down his spine. He realized he could not ignore this. For some reason, deep inside, he knew that protecting this child was now part of his life. All right, he said finally. I will help her. I will protect her. Nira giggled softly, a sound like wind chimes. She let go of him for a moment and ran a few steps ahead, turning to look back at him with excitement. Evan smiled, despite his fear. Good, Leora said. Then we must return to the settlement. There are dangers on this plane that you cannot yet see. You must be ready. The journey back was quiet at first. Evan walked beside them, feeling every step more connected than before. Nira held his hand, and it felt natural, as if she had done this since birth. Leora walked a few steps behind, her eyes scanning the horizon. The plains stretched endlessly, and the suns began to lower toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Evan tried to speak to Nira, but she only giggled and made small sounds he did not understand. Still, he felt her meaning. She wanted him to be near. He realized he had never felt anything like it. The bond seemed to whisper in his mind, subtle feelings of warmth and trust that were impossible to ignore. As they walked, Evan noticed faint traces in the grass, almost like glowing footprints left behind by Nira. He bent down to look. Is this normal? He asked Leora. She shook her head. No. Nira is special. She has the gift to sense life around her. That is why she chose you. You are safe with her, and she is safe with you. But the world is full of danger. Even humans do not always see it. Evan nodded slowly, trying to take in everything. He realized that this bond was bigger than him, bigger than human knowledge. It was a connection between two species, built on trust and instinct. By the time they reached the small human settlement, the suns were almost gone. Lights glimmered from the research buildings, reflecting on the tall glass towers that humans had built to study this planet. Other humans were walking around, unaware of the momentous event that had just taken place in the meadow. Stay close, Leora whispered. They may not understand everything at first. Evan held Nira's hand tighter. Don't worry, he said softly. I won't let anything happen to her. At the entrance of the settlement, a human guard stopped them. Who's that? He asked, looking at Nira with curiosity. Evan took a deep breath. This is Nira, he said. She has chosen me. I am responsible for her. The guard raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Leora stepped forward. She is my daughter. The child has chosen her guardian. This is part of Sarai tradition. The guard hesitated. Sarai. Right. You'll need to register her at the research post. But be careful. People may question this. Evan nodded. He felt a strange mixture of pride and fear. Pride because a small alien child had chosen him. Fear because he did not know what challenges would come next. But one thing was certain. From this moment on, he could never go back to his old life. That night, Evan stayed in a small room at the research post. Nira slept in a soft, glowing cocoon Leora had prepared for her. Evan watched her breathing softly, feeling the warmth of the bond between them. He had spent hours scanning readings, monitoring energy pulses, and observing the planet. But nothing compared to this moment. This small child had changed his life forever. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted but awake with wonder. The stars outside shimmered in the night sky, mirrored by the twin moons above. Evan realized that the universe was bigger than he had ever imagined. And he was now a part of it, in a way he could not fully explain. And somewhere deep in his heart, he knew that the real adventure was just beginning. The next morning, Evan woke to the soft light of the twin suns, shining through the small window of his room. Nira was already awake, sitting on the edge of her glowing cocoon and humming a strange melody. Her silver skin shimmered faintly in the sunlight, and her large eyes turned toward him with a look of pure happiness. "Good morning," Evan said softly, smiling. He rubbed his eyes and walked over. "Did you sleep well?" Nira giggled, a sound like tiny bells, and reached out her hand to him. Evan took it, feeling the small pulse of energy flowing through her fingertips. It was stronger than yesterday, and it made him feel alert, almost alive in a new way. Leora entered the room quietly. "She is eager to learn today," she said. "The bond is growing. You must understand that this is not just about care. You are now linked to her in ways that humans cannot easily see." Evan nodded, trying to grasp the meaning. "Linked? How?" "The Sarai have a way of sensing life," Leora explained. "Through the bond, you can feel small changes in the environment, emotions, and even danger. You will notice things before they happen if you stay connected." Evan looked at Nira again. She smiled and reached up to touch his cheek. A faint glow appeared between them, and he felt a warm, buzzing sensation in his chest. It was strange, but comforting. "I think I understand a little," Evan said. "I feel something, like a warning or a memory. It's not human, but it feels real." Leora nodded. "Yes, this is the first stage. You must trust it, even if it seems strange. And Nira will guide you, too. She chose you because she sensed your courage, honesty, and care." Evan swallowed hard. "I never thought anyone would choose me. Not like this." "She did," Leora said softly. "And it is rare. Very rare. Most humans will never experience such a bond with another species." The rest of the morning was quiet. Evan walked with Nira outside the research post, showing her the human buildings and the small fields they had planted. Nira laughed as the grass glowed beneath her feet, leaving faint sparkles behind. She tried to repeat simple human words, stumbling over them but clearly enjoying the sound of her own voice. Evan laughed too. The sound of her happiness filled the air, and he felt more alive than he had in years. Later, Leora took Evan aside. "There is something you must know," she said. "The bond is not just a connection of heart. It can also sense threats. Nira is special. She can feel danger before it reaches her. That is why she chose you. Something may come to this world soon, and you must be ready." Evan's heart skipped a beat. "Danger? What kind of danger?" "We do not know yet," Leora admitted. "But Nira sensed it. And she will protect herself only if she trusts you. You are her guardian now. That is why the bond exists." Evan looked at Nira playing in the grass, picking up small glowing stones and examining them with curiosity. He realized he had to prepare not just for her, but for himself. That afternoon, Linda Brooks, one of the human scientists at the settlement, came to visit him. She was a kind woman in her late 30s, with a sharp mind and a gentle smile. "I heard about the bond," she said quietly. "I've never seen anything like it, but it could be very important. Humans and Sarai have been in contact for decades, but this is different. You could be the key to understanding their culture and protecting them." Evan shrugged, feeling unsure. "I'm not a hero. I don't know how to be a father to a child, let alone an alien one." Evan shrugged. Linda smiled. "It is not about being a father in the human sense. It is about trust, care, and understanding. You already have that. That is why she chose you. Don't underestimate yourself." Evan felt a little better. "I suppose, if she trusts me, I can try." Over the next few days, Evan spent more time with Nira and Leora. Nira loved exploring the settlement. She ran through the human corridors, touching panels and buttons, learning quickly with her own Sarai methods. Evan watched, amazed at her speed of understanding. One evening, they walked together in the meadow where he had first met her. The twin suns were low in the sky, casting long shadows across the soft blue grass. Nira held his hand tightly. "Do you see that?" Evan asked, pointing to a small shimmer in the distance. Nira tilted her head and giggled. "Danger," she said softly. Her words simple but filled with meaning. Evan froze. "Danger? What kind?" Nira shook her head but pressed her hand against his chest. He felt a sudden wave of energy, a vibration that ran through his body like a warning. He realized that the bond was working. Nira was communicating not just with words, but with feelings, and he could sense them now. Before he could think, a low hum filled the air. The grass bent as if something massive was approaching. Evan grabbed Nira and ran toward the settlement. Leora followed closely, her eyes scanning the horizon. The source of the hum became visible, a distant shape moving across the plains. It was large and dark, unlike any natural animal or human machine. Even from a distance, Evan could feel its presence, heavy and threatening. "Varric," Leora said under her breath. Evan turned to her. "The what?" he asked. "They are a dangerous species," Leora explained. "They drain life from planets. They do not speak. They destroy everything in their path. Nira can sense them. That is why she chose you. She knew you could help protect her and this place." Evan swallowed hard. Fear twisted in his stomach, but he held Nira's hand tightly. "What do we do?" "Go to the settlement and prepare," Leora said. "We must warn the others, but you will be the link between them and Nira. Only through trust can we stand against this threat." Back at the research post, Evan met with the human officers. Most of them were skeptical. A human bonding with an alien child? "This is unusual," one officer said. "Are you saying this bond can protect us?" Evan nodded. "I don't know yet. But she warned me. I can sense things now. Small changes, movements. She is giving me guidance. We have to be careful and prepare." Linda stepped forward. "Evan is right. This could be our best chance. We need to work together, humans and Sarai, if we want to survive." Plans were made. The humans began setting up defenses, while Leora trained Nira to use her senses to detect the Varric. Evan stayed close to Nira, feeling every small pulse of energy she emitted. Every time she giggled or spoke, it carried a sense of warning, of possibility, and of trust. Over the next week, Evan noticed changes in himself. He could sense small movements in the settlement, even when he could not see them. He could feel when someone was near danger or when energy readings changed. The bond with Nira was growing stronger every day. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned purple and gold, Nira tugged at his hand. "Come," she said. Evan followed her to the meadow. The grass shimmered under the fading light. Nira pointed to the distant horizon. Small, shadowy shapes moved slowly toward them. The Varric were approaching. Evan felt a mix of fear and determination. He looked down at Nira. "Don't worry," he whispered. "We will face this together." Nira smiled, her small hand gripping his tightly. Leora stood behind them, her eyes calm but alert. "You are ready," she said. "The bond is strong. Trust it. Trust her. And trust yourself." Evan took a deep breath, feeling the strange energy flowing through him. He realized that he was no longer just a technician or a human visitor on Arden 5. He was part of something larger. He was part of a family, a bond that crossed species, and a force that might protect the planet itself. The night sky grew dark, stars blinking in the distance. Evan, Nira, and Leora stood together, ready to face whatever the universe sent next. And Evan knew one thing for certain. His life had changed forever. The following days were tense. The shadowy shapes that Nira had sensed were growing closer. The Varric, as Leora had warned, were a dangerous species. They did not communicate and moved silently, consuming energy from the world around them. Every evening, Evan could feel their presence, a low vibration through the soil and air. Evan's bond with Nira was stronger now. He could feel her emotions clearly and sense small changes in the environment. When she became anxious, the wind would shift, or the glowing grass would pulse. He was learning to read these signs. Nira had begun to respond to him in small ways too, following his gaze and letting him guide her safely. Leora explained that the Varek were drawn to energy. They were not aggressive in a normal sense, they did not attack for sport, but they drained life wherever they went. Fields, buildings, and even living beings could be affected if the Varek came too close. You must understand, Leora told Evan one evening. Nira can sense them before humans, or even our scanners can. That is why she chose you. You can help her interpret her senses and act in time. Evan nodded. I think I understand. I feel when something is wrong, and I can see small changes in the air, like vibrations. It's strange, but it works. Leora smiled faintly. Good, but it is not enough to feel. You must act. You must guide humans and Sarai together. That is the purpose of this bond. The first warning came late one night. Nira tugged on Evan's sleeve and pointed toward the horizon. The air shimmered with a faint, dark haze. He could feel it before he even saw it, an oppressive, heavy energy that made his chest tighten. Varek, Leora whispered, confirming Evan's suspicion. They are coming closer. Evan ran to the human command center with Nira and Leora. Human scientists had been preparing defenses. But now, they needed direction. Stay calm, Evan told the team. Nira can sense them. Follow my lead. We need to prepare the energy shields and focus on protecting the settlement. The human officers were skeptical, but they followed. Nira ran ahead, pointing to areas that felt vulnerable. Evan felt a pulse in his chest every time she stopped, warning him. He directed humans to fortify walls, move civilians to safer areas, and prepare energy emitters that could block small Varek drones. Linda Brooks was there, working quickly with the Sarai. The bond works, she said quietly to Evan. She is guiding you, and you are guiding us. This is what we need. Evan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He was no longer just a guardian, he was the link between two species, a bridge that might save them all. By dawn, small, shadowy drones appeared on the horizon. They moved silently, consuming energy as they went. The grass where they passed wilted, and faint blue sparks flew from the soil. Nira ran beside Evan, pointing and screaming faint warning sounds. Evan could feel her fear, but also her courage. She trusted him, and that trust made him stronger. Direct the shields, he ordered. Focus on the energy barriers and force them back. Don't waste power on the empty fields, they follow life. Humans and Sarai worked together, adjusting panels, tuning emitters, and following Evan's directions. Nira's small hands glowed faintly as she focused her energy on the areas where the drones moved. Evan noticed that her glow resonated with the shields. It amplified them slightly, enough to push the drones back temporarily. Good, Leora whispered. You are learning fast. Trust her. She can sense more than you think. The first attack was chaotic. Drones moved like shadows, slithering across the plains. Energy shields flickered under their force. Humans were frightened, unsure how to fight against beings that did not look alive but drained life wherever they went. Evan felt Nira's heartbeat against his arm. He realized he could feel the direction of the drones, the areas where they were strongest, and even the weak points in their formation. He guided the humans to target those weak points. Slowly, the drones began to falter and retreat. You are doing it, Leora said quietly. The bond is working. Evan was exhausted but focused. He had never imagined that he could lead a defense against an alien threat. But with Nira by his side, he could. The connection between them gave him a clarity he had never known. He could see small movements in the environment, feel subtle changes in the energy around the settlement, and anticipate the drone's next move. After the first wave, the settlement was safe but damaged. Small fires burned, and some buildings were weakened. Human engineers worked quickly to repair energy shields and restore power. Evan, Nira, and Leora went out into the field to check for signs of the Varek. They are regrouping, Leora said. The drones are only the first step. The larger machines will come soon. Evan swallowed hard. He had seen glimpses of these larger machines in Nira's visions. Massive, dark, and humming with energy, they could drain entire fields in minutes. He knew that this next wave would be harder. We need to prepare, Evan said firmly. Humans and Sci-fi together. We focus on defense and control. Nira. Guide me. Show me what you sense. Nira's small hand glowed, and Evan felt a rush of information, shapes, paths, energy points, and weaknesses. He nodded and relayed it to the human teams. Move the shields here. Set traps along that ridge. Focus on the high energy points. For the next few days, Evan stayed close to Nira, learning every subtle signal. He could feel her mood, her focus, and her fear. Each emotion translated into movement, direction, or warning. He guided humans to reinforce key points, relocate vulnerable equipment, and prepare countermeasures. Leora taught him some of the Sci-fi ways too. She showed him how to use light and energy patterns to communicate without words. Evan quickly realized that the bond allowed him to understand Nira even when she was silent. Together, they became a team, humans and Sci-fi following their lead. Finally, the Varric appeared. The massive machines moved slowly across the plains, dark shapes against the glowing grass. They hummed, pulling energy from the soil and air. The settlement trembled as the machines approached. Focus on the barriers, Evan ordered. Use everything we have. Nira. Guide us to the weak points. The bond flared stronger than ever. Evan could feel the machine's energy patterns, sense the points where they were weakest, and predict their movements. Nira's small hands glowed, sending pulses that reinforced the energy shields. Humans and Sci-fi worked together, following Evan's instructions. Barriers held, but barely. Sparks flew, energy fields flickered, and the ground shook with the weight of the Varric machines. Evan felt his chest tighten, but he did not let fear take over. He focused on Nira, on the bond, on the small pulses of guidance she sent. Slowly, with careful adjustments, the shields held. The first machines faltered and slowed, then retreated slightly. You see, Leora said quietly, the bond works. You are stronger together than apart. Trust each other. Evan nodded, feeling the truth of her words. The connection with Nira was more than guidance. It was strength. It was courage. It was hope. As night fell, the Varric withdrew, leaving the settlement battered but intact. Humans and Sci-fi tended to the wounded and repaired the defenses. Evan stayed close to Nira, watching her sleep in her glowing cocoon. He could feel her pulse, her warmth, and her trust. This is only the beginning, Leora said softly. The Varric will return. But now you know your power, Evan. You are ready to guide and protect. Together, you and Nira can face what comes next. Evan held her small hand in his, feeling the warmth and energy flowing between them. We will face it, he whispered. Together. The night sky stretched over the settlement, calm for now. But Evan knew the Varric were still out there, waiting. And he knew that with Nira by his side, he was no longer alone. He was her guardian. She had chosen him, and he would not fail her. The bond had grown, stronger than he had imagined, and Evan finally understood that the adventure was only beginning.